time again. Today I'm going to show you how to make mustard eggs. I did a modern twist on a recipe from the Ribe Viking Center in Denmark, and I made them a little bit more like deviled eggs. People tell me I should call them Loki'd eggs. But yeah, it's a very good recipe, it's tasty, and I hope you enjoy it. I do mention in the video as well that I was making gravlax at the time. That is the next video, and I hope you enjoy that one as well. So for this one, the basics: you'll need eggs, butter, and a spicy mustard. You can use Dijon or whatever, but we like the whole grain one the best. And today in the sauce, I'm going to add a little bit of dill. Maybe it's add new dimension. So first, I'm going to get the eggs started. And if you don't know how to hard boil an egg, there's plenty of stuff on YouTube and Pinterest and whatever. But the basics of it, at least in the way I do it, you start with just a pot of cold water. Put your eggs inside, but just enough to cover them. Turn it on high and let the water heat up to a boil. Then once it reaches a boil, you set a timer for 10 minutes and go from there. It's not really that complicated. Not just sort of the heating it up that way sort of just prevents them from cracking and stuff before they're cooked enough that it's not going to affect it too much. So then, while that's doing its thing, and excuse the smoke, that's a lot of the crap that got on the bottom of the pot. That'll burn off in no time. So now I just chop a little bit of dill, and for this, I really don't need much. Just this tiny little amount. Not like doing the gravlax that needed, you know, 3/4 of that bundle. Okay, so now I just move that to the side. Save it for later. And you can use it a little, sort of like crashing. You can use a little saucepan like this to do the sauce, but I prefer my cast iron skillet. So just turn it on a fairly low heat, because all you're doing is melting the butter and mixing in the rest of the ingredients. That's about it. Well, while this heats up, I'm just going to turn the camera. So the way that I generally melt up butter for this, I just sort of set the pound of butter in there and watch it until it gets the right amount. It's kind of an arbitrary thing. What I did, I think it was, in the end, it was about 36 or 38 eggs. That's probably 38 eggs over the course of 2 meals. I melted a whole pound of butter and dumped in a whole jar of really nice grainy mustard. And that fed a lot of people, but for this I'm only doing 4 eggs right now, so I don't need nearly that amount. And sometimes moving it around a little, just kind of seeing how much it is, because you really only need about maybe a tablespoon per egg. Probably a little less, unless you want to do like a drizzle over the top of them. And so I'm just about to the point I need, because it will add extra with the volume of the mustard. And I kind of just give it a bit of a shake to get the liquid butter off, and then that generally just gets popped right back in the fridge. So now, mustard, again, it's kind of an arbitrary thing. You can add a bit. Balance the spiciness of the mustard, and the vinegar in the mustard balances with the creaminess of the butter. Sort of that full-bodied butter flavor in it, and it just creates a really interesting flavor palette. So that's about enough mustard. Mixed in pretty well. And now I'll just add just a pinch at a time of dill, just to see whether that's going to be the right amount or not. Probably add just a pinch more. Now you don't really want this to boil or really cook at all. So once it's melted and you have everything mixed, you can turn it way down to simmer, or even turn it off if you think the pan will keep warm enough while the eggs cook. So once your eggs are cooked and peeled, you just want to cut them in half. Just to start out. And then I'm going to flip the board over so that they're not in a place that's wet, because then the yolk will get all screwed up. Flip the board over. And then you want to pop the yolks out. And I kind of rushed a little bit so that the yolks are still hot. Ideally, you want them cold. They stand up a little better. So now you have these guys. And you just take a spoonful of your mustard mix and just plop it right inside. Then you try to put the yolks back in as best you can with some of the bits that stick out and everything. Doesn't matter if they're 100% in correctly. It's sort of a good enough type of venture. So now you have these, and you can put little sprigs of dill on top for a little extra flavor and kind of give it a bit of a more refined look. You can also take spoonfuls of the sauce and sort of just do a bit of a drizzle, preferably before you put the garnish on. That way you don't just smush and screw up your garnish. So that's what they more or less look like in the end. Now, what to do if you inevitably have extra sauce, which you pretty well always will, because it's almost impossible to make the exact right amount that you need. Just put it in a container, put it in the fridge, and use it either again for the eggs, or you can use it as a spread on sandwiches. You can put it on meat, you can put it on anything. With the meat, I would highly recommend, if you're cooking a roast or something, once the roast comes out of the oven, take some of this and spread it all over it, and then let your roast rest. As it's resting, it absorbs back some of the fluids, and it'll absorb this buttery, mustardy goodness into it, as well as sort of crusting on the outside a little bit, and it'll impart a really nice flavor to that meat. So that's it. The recipe's quite simple. It's a very tasty dish as well. I hope you find that. And one of the cool things that I found out with the mix is you can do these eggs as a scrambled egg. You just start making your scrambled eggs the way you normally would. Put them in the pan, start getting them scrambled up. Then you put in a mix of that sauce, like the pre-made sauce, and stir that in. And then you get something that tastes very similar to the mustard egg, the way that I've done it. But it also tastes like scrambled eggs as well, so it just has a new dimension. Spreading that, using it as a spread on all kinds of things. It's great on anything that you would put mustard and butter on, basically, but it has a different flavor than just mustard and butter. And I really highly recommend using it on meat when the meat is resting. That way it'll absorb that mustard butter goodness and make it really flavorful. So I hope you enjoy this recipe as much as I do, and I hope you look forward to the next one, which is gravlax.